Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome one and all to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. Thank you for choosing to hang with us for the next hour and some change as we take you into our world of video games. You can find us on your favorite podcast service. Watch us live on Twitch and watch us on YouTube as well, whatever floats your gaming boat. And as always, I have the pleasure of being joined by a fellow Duke of Gaming because I'm, of course, your Duke of Anime, Thomas. But first and foremost, he's a Nintendo hater that plays all of his games on the hardest mode. He is the Duke of Education, Alfredo. How are you doing today, sir?
What's up, Ice Muncher?
Hey.
You weren't ready. Of course.
So if you don't get this joke, you have to watch our streams. Every Saturday night we do a stream, of course. Last night I was
shamed.
Insulted.
You were shamed.
Unjustifiably insulted.
No, rightfully
because
so.
I like to have ice with my drinks.
No, you don't. No, you're spinning the story. You're spinning it.
I'm a journalism major. That's my job.
It was revealed that Thomas just eats ice on the regular as a snack. And even more egregious, apparently he compared it to a snack like popcorn. What is this?
It's better than popcorn because it's healthier.
Okay,
and Alfredo tried to make the argument that eating popcorn is more healthy than chewing ice.
It is.
And that's more egregious. That's way more egregious. That's 10 times more egregious. That is misinformation.
No, we're not going to get into it right now because I was so ready to put you on blast with the other Dukes, but unfortunately they're not here. So, next week maybe. Next week, we'll see.
They heard you were trying to make an argument and they're like, oh, we can't join this week. We can't.
You know what? There's always next time, but we will be discussing this further.
We might have to have a whole podcast on it, but of course, this is the Dukes of Gaming podcast. And of course, we have to start off with the age-old gamer question. What have we been playing this week? I got a lot on my plate. I've been busy. So I feel like I'll go first just to get my stuff out the way. And then we'll go to Alfredo, which his kind of leads into our first topic. So I have been playing a lot of games due to having the Steam Deck. Steam Deck has really made it a lot easier for me to attack my backlog and try out games that I really wouldn't have tried out before. As a new PC gamer, I am for the first time getting introduced to Steam demos. Didn't realize how many events go on in the year where Steam just releases a whole bunch of demos from different developers. And so I've gotten to take place with the Steam Next Fest this week. So it started earlier this week and I think tomorrow is the last day.
I feel like they definitely should have done a better job advertising because until you told me yesterday, I had no idea this was a thing. And I'm a PC gamer. I have a PC. I play indie games. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, they should have maybe done a push notification or something. Mm-hmm. Maybe they did. I just didn't see it. But I was on the store and I saw it and I was like, oh, 400 demos. There has to be something good out of this. And I got some good stuff. And I want to talk about some of the good stuff. I won't spend too long just because there wasn't full experiences, of course. I'll first start off with my least favorite game I played of these. Which is Isekai Frontline,
I love isekais.
That's why I downloaded it, but it was not a good time.
Oh no! What was it about?
It was a top-down beat 'em up type game. I'm like, okay, I could use an isekai with this. Like, this is cool.
Sounds promising.
It felt clunky. I wasn't laughing at any of the character interactions. It wasn't moving well. Bad frame rate. So that was. And that was the first game I downloaded too. So I'm like, is this just a whole bunch of shovelware? But then we go to some other games, which I think that was the only bad game I played. The other ones were at the very least good. The second game I played was Slay the Princess, which is a visual novel.
Great name.
Yeah, and you are doing what the title says, you need to slay the princess. Why? They will not tell you why, but apparently if she leaves her cabin, the world ends.
So you're just going to kill her. That's the plan?
Well, the thing is, you have a choice because it's a visual novel. It's also a dating simulator as well. So
Interesting. Okay.
I didn't get far enough into it to understand how the dating aspect comes in. I don't
Hmm.
think there's any other woman besides the princess. I feel like a dating simulator would be kind of weird if it's just one girl. But I thought it was interesting. I think the writing for the game is strong. I'm asking a lot of questions, which if you're playing a visual novel, like if you don't have any questions about the story, I feel like the visual novel is not doing its job.
Right.
So this
Got to
is
keep you intrigued.
exactly, and I think this game does a really good job of that. This is looking like it's gonna be a day one for me. Like I'm pretty sure
Okay.
if it's under 20, I'm definitely gonna buy it because
Okay.
I was that intrigued by it. The other game
Nice.
I played was I told you about this one yesterday. Ooh, ooh,
Asturigos.
there we
Something
go.
like that.
So
Right?
this is it's a Dark Souls inspired, like Kena Bridge of Spirit inspired action RPG. The combat wasn't as good as those aforementioned games, but I don't
Okay.
think this game is batting at that level anyways. It's a $35 game. Um, it's releasing on the 11th, so in about 2 days. I enjoy my time with that. I like the demo. I don't think it's gonna be something I pick up, but I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Kena or a fan of Dark Souls. I
Did
think give
you
it a chance.
did you think it was as good as Kina Combat?
Oh no,
At least? Oh
no.
no, okay. Because
But
Kina
I feel like
wasn't.
Kena Combat, I feel like it's decent. I feel like it's pretty fine.
Yeah, it's decent. Kina was a $40 game though. It's only $5 more than this
I thought
game.
Kena was $50 game.
Nope. $40.
So $5 cheaper. I don't think it's $5 worse combat. I think it's a little bit worse than that. But I like the vibe of it. I like where the story is. Like you're kind of this like warrior girl who's like her clan has been, decimated. And so you're trying to figure out why. I think the story seems interesting. I think the combat's decent. I like the graphics of it. I'm looking forward to it, but it's like whenever it's going to be on a Steam sale. Looking forward
Mm,
to it.
okay.
Let
I'll
me make
put
sure
it
I
on
didn't
my
miss
wish list.
and let me make sure I didn't. Oh, the one game I do want to mention before I get to the main one from the list. Thirsty Suitors.
Dating sim, I'm assuming.
No, honestly, the closest comparison, it seems like a combination of like the comedy style of It Takes Two
Okay. Okay, I'm down with
with
that.
the concept itself of like Scott Pilgrim saves the world.
Okay, but what kind of game is it though? Is it a date? Is it like novel dating?
No, it's not a visual novel. It's like it's hard to even. It's like a RPG where you're like
Okay.
it's a weird one. It's very weird because you're like using RPG mechanics to like fend off thirsty suitors.
Huh.
So,
Huh.
you play this Indian girl.
Okay.
She has a lot of exes, and when she comes back in town, a bunch of the exes like kind of team up and are
Okay.
trying to. They're
So
all like
Scott Pilgrim. So
right,
Scott Pilgrim,
yeah,
exactly how you,
and
like you
they're like
said.
basically
I'm
trying
here
to
for it.
get you, trying to get you.
Okay.
And because no, Scott Pilgrim is not. It's not Scott Pilgrim's exes. It's Ramona's exes.
Right. Right.
These are your exes.
Right. But close enough, right? We
Close enough. Yeah,
we're
I was saying
familiar with the
it's Scott
concept.
Pilgrim adjacent. It's very
Right.
like similar to it,
Exactly.
but and they get like their XP is like their thirsty meter. So
So you want to be thirsty is what you're telling me. Like,
no, you want like you're trying to like make like you're trying to balance their thirstiness because you're fighting them.
okay, okay.
And
Interesting.
so it's very interesting. I'm probably not gonna buy this game, but it was interesting enough. Like, I feel like you should play the demo just for the vibes alone, and you'll know
Exactly.
immediately whether you're gonna like it or not. I
Right.
appreciated it. I'm not in love with it, but it was a
Mhm.
good vibe. But you don't really see much Indian representation in video games, so I thought that was pretty cool too.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
definitely have to give it a download. I will be checking this out.
yeah, I think it's I don't know if you're gonna like it or not, but I think you should at least try it out just to see. 'Cause I think it might appeal to certain people who like that sense of humor.
Right. Right.
So your mileage may vary on that. But the game I really want to talk about from the next fest is Seasons, which I've been looking forward to this game ever since it was announced at one of the PlayStation press conferences, maybe about a year ago.
Mhm.
And essentially, like the tagline of this game essentially is like photographing the end of the world, and it reminds me a lot of like the best aspects of Pokemon Snap mixed with the vibe of a Breath of the Wild. And
Mm.
it's it has a really good vibe to it, and that's the best I can say about it. It's not like groundbreaking, you're not like right now the performance of it wasn't that great. It was running at like sub 20. It wasn't
Mhm.
like the best experience I've had. But I think in terms of all the demos I tried, this is the one that impressed me the most with what this game could potentially be.
Okay.
It definitely seems like it's trying to say something, you know.
So in terms of the actual gameplay for this, I think I remember seeing this in some sort of indie, like E3 maybe
I
around
think
that
it was at a PlayStation conference.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Is this game is you literally is Pokemon Snap gameplay where you're literally going around the environment in the 3D adventure kind of like third person
Yeah,
and you're
taking
taking
pictures of things
pictures?
that are interesting. Things are dynamically happening, so you can take a picture of things as they're going on.
But you're
Also, you
not
can record
it's not a
audio as
quest.
well.
It's not a quest, right? They don't say, "Oh, take a picture of this." You're deciding. Like
Well,
they give you the freedom?
the demo is only 30 minutes,
Okay.
and it's pretty
Got ya.
contained, so it could do that. I think there
Mhm.
is like some level of questing that you need to complete, but it's very open ended as well.
Okay.
Where it's like you can follow the quest, but you can take a picture of anything.
Hmm.
And I was shocked at the amount of stuff I was taking pictures of, and there's a line of dialogue to go along when I take the picture.
Okay, so it's a relaxing game.
Yeah, it's very relaxing. It's on the Sable side of things, on the Journey side of things. I
Ooh,
think
okay.
I think it could be something special. Like if they can get the performance issues right, and I think this game is set to come out sometime in 2023. So they have time
Mhm.
to get this together. I want them to. I think this game has a lot of potential. I want to like if I could take this on the go. I feel like this game would be perfect for Switch. I'm shocked they didn't have.
It honestly does look perfect for Switch.
Yeah,
I might need to take a look at it.
I'm definitely getting it for Steam Deck because I played it on Steam Deck when I demoed it and it worked perfectly. I loved how it looked in terms of like the actual like art style. I think the art style is very compelling. I can only imagine when we get to certain parts of this world how it's going to look because even just the basic demo part of it looked pretty good. So super excited for that. And yeah, that pretty much is me and the Steam Next Fest. I tried some other games, but
Nice.
I, they're little, they're not worth mentioning at this
Those are
time.
Thomas's picks.
Yeah, so
Okay, cool.
except for Isekai Frontline, I don't get that. That's not bad. I just had to point out how bad that game was,
But
but
it's good
nobody.
enough for you to try so you can have a
Yeah,
nice laugh. Or no,
nah,
no, not
yeah.
even. Okay,
I
okay.
could have used that 20 minutes back.
Just so bad you had to mention it, huh?
Yeah, and then yeah, so that's basically me in the Steam Next Fest. I also tried out on my PlayStation 5. They had a Valkyrie Elysium demo, so I tried that out. Very disappointed.
Oh,
Very
I heard
disappointed. You
mixed
know
things
me.
about it.
I love my anime games, so I wanted to try it out at the very least. Did not enjoy my time. I thought
Okay.
everything was stiff. It honestly made Final Fantasy Stranger Than Paradise seem like a pretty decent game because
I mean,
it's
I
honestly
mean,
pretty similar in terms of like the fighting style to me. Not
okay,
this because it's not a Dark
interesting.
Souls anything. It's not like inspired by that, but just the combat in general kind of felt like that. But it felt way more heavy and just not. It didn't feel right to me. So
Interesting. Okay.
I'm not gonna be playing it. It's $70 right now.
Well,
That's a game you get
oh,
like for $10.
70?
That,
Jesus. $70? Well, I might have to take a look at it since it's a free demo because
yeah,
you know how I feel about Stranger of Paradise. Love it. Game of the year contender for sure.
it was the
But go
game of
ahead,
the day. It was the
continue.
game of the day when it came out. It was, and
Uh,
maybe that might be pushing it because I gotta see what else was released that day.
you know what? We don't have time for this, okay? What else you playing? I don't have time
Well,
to school you right now.
you already know I've been playing a little bit of Spider-Man as well.
Of course, of
Been
course.
trying out mods, so that's been fun. But also been playing on Steam Deck. I'm probably gonna end up platinuming this again. So this will be the third time.
Platinuming it on Steam, right?
Yeah.
Or wherever you bought it. Wow.
Yeah, I
Let's
will
talk
go
about
to the
some
grave
Spider-Man.
saying Spider-Man is the best platinum ever because
I agree.
it's literally just going through. There's no like hidden anything. You just
Mhm.
do exactly what the game is telling you in terms of like get all the gadgets, get all the backpacks, and you have a list of how many are left. There's nothing hidden.
Yeah. Though I will say though, the one like annoying one is when you have to like do this X amount of this certain robberies or this certain like car chases or
Oh,
something.
I complete
Oh,
those as they come. Like whenever I head to a mission and there's like a car chase, I'm doing the car chase before I go to the mission. That's just how I play. I'm Spider-Man. I'm
I
Spider-Man, baby.
guess. I guess. I'm just trying to get home to Mary Jane, okay? I don't have time to save everyone's car
If you're
chases.
Spider-Man and you see a car chase and
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
like, I'm just gonna let that rock.
I'm just saying, like, even Spider-Man has dates he gotta make.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, just
I
saying.
hope you don't get bitten by no spider. You might be letting all sorts of crime happen. Oh my
Hey, I got a
god.
life too. It gotta be Peter Parker.
Oh my gosh. And then the last game I've been playing is Bioshock Infinite, which is a game that I love, but I never completed. This came out in a time of my life, like when I was in college. And so I was playing it with friends, and then we started doing other stuff. And so this game kind of got abandoned. I played enough of it to know it's one of the better games ever. Like it's in terms of the story, it's up there.
Yeah.
One of the best stories I've consumed in video games and like period. It's very compelling. I love because most games don't tackle race relations at all, and if they do, it usually is kind of clumsy.
Mhm.
This probably has the best like setting I've played in a video game. Period. Because it's just such a unique setting. It reminds me. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when the Game of Thrones guys were announced they were doing that show on HBO called Confederacy, where it's like what happens if like the South
Oh, yeah,
wins?
yeah. I do.
This kind of feels like a better version of that idea.
Hmm.
W-
Interesting. I haven't seen that show, but
Well,
I
it never came out. It never
Oh,
came
okay,
out.
okay.
It
I was
was
like,
announced, and
yeah.
everybody flipped their shit about it, and then it never got made.
I do
Um,
remember that. I will say I'm very surprised that you have not, finished this game considering how and, well, I don't even know if you avoided all the spoilers from it considering how, like, crazy of an ending everyone freaks out about it, so I'm gonna be have you heard about the ending yet? Okay, so you're in the dark, so that'll
I'm
be
like
exciting to hear your
90 per
thoughts.
like I know I'm like towards the last like maybe 2 hours of it. So
Okay.
I'll be done with it probably, truth be told, maybe before the end of the day.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Yeah,
but
it'll be
yeah,
great to
I'm
hear your
enjoying my
thoughts.
time. I felt this way before, but now I'm for sure. I think Elizabeth's probably the best AI companion in gaming.
You just like her because she gives you ammo all the
No,
time.
because my thing is the reason why I like her is because the idea, because usually, like for example, I think Ellie's up there too.
I was
But
gonna say
even
over Ellie, though?
the thing is with Ellie when she's young, it doesn't make sense sometimes the things that she does. Like she'll just run into the line of fire and the
Oh,
enemies won't.
yeah.
Like for some reason, Elizabeth really never does that. I really looked and I'm like, this game is almost 10 years old. And
Mhm.
I do not see any like inconsistencies with the AI. Like she's hiding behind cover. And then the fact that she has her powers in my head canon, I'm like, that's why she's not like getting hit.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
mean,
perfect sense to me.
to be fair, though, it's not like she's not Ellie, right? She doesn't have a gun or, like, an actual weapon. She just has power, so she just has to pop up, do what you tell her to, and then pop back down.
Right. And then I'm not gonna lie, every time the animation when I die, like I love the animation of her bringing me back. It's just such a like it's so like quick and makes sense. And I love the like how death works in the game
Mhm.
where it's not like restart the level. It's all right, pick up where you last left off.
Yeah.
I respect that. That makes it easier to get through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm dealing with a hard opponent, it's cool. Like, okay, they just reset their health, but everybody else I've already killed is already still dead because
Yeah,
she's
that's
literally just healing you and picking you
right.
back up. So I'm like, that makes
Exactly.
it's like everything that's usually gamified, they
Has a
made
reason to
make
it.
sense within the narrative.
Right.
And I honestly have to say, like, in terms of story and just like how everything fits together, this is up there with The Last of Us in terms of storytelling. Like,
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet till
I know.
this ending
I'm
hits
saying
you.
like eat, but right now I'm saying that I can only imagine when I get to these last 2 hours, like where it's gonna go. Because
Right.
I would watch this.
Which is shocking that they haven't made a Bioshock movie yet. I
I
know
feel
it's
like
in
there's a
development,
Bioshock
right?
series in the works. I feel like I remember
Yeah,
hearing about
it's
that.
either a series or a movie is in the works, and hopefully they don't mess it up.
I mean, I hope not either, because I mean, this is. I didn't realize that this is at the same level as the original Bioshock.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that because when I was playing, I was like, "This is cool. This is not Bioshock though." But
Right.
now playing it in hindsight, and also when I played it at on the PS3. Playing on Steam Deck, it's a different experience. I have to say,
Unlocked all that frame rate.
60 frames,
Looks
gyro.
beautiful.
It's
Right.
a different experience. Like it's pretty incredible that how good this game looks for being 10 years old as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's been the highlight of my week, getting through Bioshock Infinite. Being able to play it right after I get out the gym. It's just a great game. I highly recommend it if anybody is on the fence about it. But yeah, I took a lot of time. That's my games of the week. But let's get to your game of the week, which is also going to lead into our first topic. So I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so I've been playing Overwatch 2, or rather, I've been
Ooh,
trying to play Overwatch 2. My
me
God.
too.
Oh, really?
Technically, I have it downloaded. I tried to load a match because my friend was like, "Hey, you want to play with us?" I'm like, "Sure." Try
Yeah,
to
it's
load a
free.
match. Nothing.
Look, it's free to play now, right? So this game, I thought it launched this weekend, but it actually launched like on Tuesday in the middle of
Mhm.
the week. And I wanted to play because I'm a huge Overwatch fan. I When the first one came out, they did like a free trial weekend. I got in, it was like a year or two after it released, and I've been hooked ever since. I would play it like every single night. That would be my go-to game. And within the past few months, I kind of dropped off of it because they had announced Overwatch 2 and said, oh, we're going to stop releasing all the new characters, all the new heroes for free. We're not doing that anymore. So around that time when they did release the last character, which I think was Echo, I had stopped playing because no new content was being released. They were holding it all back for Overwatch 2.
The
So I've
bastards.
been really excited for Overwatch 2. So I tried to play on Tuesday and I could not. You would just give me a server error. Well, actually, first, what happened? Let's jump into the actual topic.
Yeah.
Overwatch 2 had a super rocky launch on Tuesday. They basically released and everyone was having trouble getting in, and it's because according to the Overwatch devs and creators and everyone in Blizzard, that on their launch day they got hit by multiple DDoS attacks to their server. So just flooding their server, making it so that people can't play the game. Yeah, so
Which
it
I have to say, this is not some small indie game.
right.
This is
Blizzard.
Overwatch, who is owned by Activision.
Hmm.
And I guess they're technically not owned by Microsoft yet, but they're owned by Microsoft. I don't understand how these games keep succumbing to this. I just don't get it. Like I get it from the standpoint of you can't really stop a DDoS. I get you can't stop it. But there has to be some level of like you might expect that to happen.
Hmm. So you try to
So
ramp up security, and
and
I'm
also
sure
I
they
get
did.
there's the other thing of why would you shut down Overwatch 1?
Well, that's a whole nother topic.
No, but I'm saying like, why would you shut it down right before this launches? Because now people can't even play Overwatch anymore.
Mhm.
And now that they succumb to this, where it's like now no, you can't play Overwatch at all because they just
Yes.
replace Overwatch 1 for Overwatch 2. I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
like I'm not saying they should keep them going at the same time forever. I'm saying maybe just a week. Like, just give people an option. Oh, I can't get an Overwatch 2. Let me see if I can play Overwatch 1 at
But
least for
here's
the
the
week.
here's the problem with that though, Thomas. So originally, that's what people speculated to happen.
That's what
Overwatch
make the
1 would
most
still be
sense.
there, but Blizzard did come back a long time ago and said specifically, "Oh, like we are essentially merging the two games." They said this a long time ago, so that if you have Overwatch 1, you'll be able to play with everyone in Overwatch 2, essentially. Now, what we thought that meant, because the biggest change from Overwatch 1 to 2 was that it goes from a six-person composition, six players, six heroes, to five players. So people were looking forward to still being able to have those 6 entire players on their team, and that would be the differentiation between Overwatch 1 and 2. Literally nothing else is different in Overwatch 2, which
The
is
new heroes, right?
I'm yeah, but the thing is, they literally took that from, just giving the heroes for free and put that in Overwatch 2 instead, like migrated it. They don't have anything else really. They do, hero tweaks, everything like that, but they did that with Overwatch 1. We're just getting it free to play and they're calling it Overwatch 2.
Well, there's a
They
single player
don't
campaign, right?
well, it was supposed to. So that was the one thing that was supposed to be given with Overwatch 2. You were supposed to get a single player, not a single player, but a PvE mode where you can team up with 4 heroes, like with your friends, and play like the campaign mode.
Mm-hmm.
That is just delayed until further notice, essentially. There's no news on when
2024.
actually that will come out, and it's just the PvP.
Jeez.
So what you're getting here is literally just Overwatch 1 with like some new content. But again, the new content was ripped from Overwatch 1 for the past like year or so since the new hero has been released. So it's Overwatch 2, but really it's just Overwatch 1 with a few new maps, a few new heroes, and all of that. But yeah, going back to this Rocky launch, it's been real rough, Thomas. Because what happened on Tuesday is that because of the DDoS attacks, you basically log in and you have to wait through the queue. And the queue on launch day, when it's free to play now, anyone can play. The queue is like 80. I would see 80,000 players ahead of you. So then I would have to wait
I had
like
30. I had 30,000 when I checked.
yeah, it would fluctuate, but I had like 1.80,000. So you would have to wait for that to go down, wait 20 minutes, then you get to log in. But psych, we're having login issues on launch. So actually, there was an error. Try again later. So I had to go through this process so many times. The entire day basically didn't get in not one time. So I gave up. Tried the next day, same exact thing. Tried the next day, I got in. I was like, okay,
Lucky
I got
you.
in on Thursday. Now
Alfredo called in some favors.
here's the problem. So I got in, right? But I was an OG Overwatch player. So how it was supposed to work also was that okay, new players, how it works is that for new players, you have to unlock every single character, like over the course of 100 matches that you play. If
Kind of
you're
like
over
multiverses a little bit.
yeah, kind of like that. You basically have to earn the characters by playing the game.
And you can buy them if you want to.
Yeah, you can buy like the premium battle pass basically.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of players, they also had a bug where I'm an OG Overwatch player. I should have been given all the characters and all my skins, everything that I earned was supposed to be transferred. The bug made it so that you didn't get any of that. So there's a bug where if you log in, you're treated like a new player. This happened to me. So all my characters, all my skins that I earned, all the currency, everything, all of it gone. There's nothing there anymore.
Shit.
Yeah, so I had to go through and start
Mm.
trying to unlock my favorite heroes that I wanted to play because you're only really given like 5 to 6 or 7
Out of how
heroes out of
many?
like 35. Yeah, so
Ooh.
there's a lot missing and you got to earn it.
Fuck.
And it's random what you earn. You can't like say, "Oh, I want to like start getting this specific character. Let me try." No. It's kind of like Super Smash where they give you a random character basically. So I was not happy. But I will say, as of today, they're seemingly starting to fix things. You no longer have to wait in an 80,000 queue. They made it so that they ramped up their servers and people can get in immediately. They like scaled up like the amount of servers you need. So now I was playing earlier today. I don't have to wait at all when I log in, which is great. Also, they fixed the bug for me. Now I have access to my skins. I have access to my characters. So it was rough in the beginning. There wasn't much communication with them, but it seems like it's definitely getting better. The only bad thing that we talked about last week, but you have to for some of the new characters, you still have to earn them, and some of them are locked behind the battle pass if you don't want to spend 3-4 weeks actually trying to get them. But
Okay.
it's turning around. It's turning around.
No, that makes sense. I just feel that they should have kept Overwatch 1 for at least another week. while this was going on, just to give players another option, because I could have told you this was going to happen. Like
Yeah.
I could have told you, yeah, you're probably not going to, like, if you're turning a game that used to be at launch $60 and it's free to play now.
Mhm.
I could have told you that you're going to probably have too many people for matches, and there's going to be a queue. I could have guessed that. I always figured that Overwatch 1 was going to still be in. I thought it was going to be in
We all
server
did.
maybe at least a month. Like, because I feel like there should be that transitional period.
No, they want your money, Thomas. They want to be able to charge you. Get
Mm.
this, they're charging people like $20 for a single skin, for the legendary skin, is
Well,
what they call it. And in
well, how
some
does it?
cases, it's literally just the color change of a jacket for the new character. That's all they change for a legendary skin. $20 you have to pay for it.
Well,
It's
how is
crazy.
the experience from a free perspective as opposed to if you drop, let's say, that 20? Is it any different?
Uh, it's a lot more annoying, Thomas. It's a lot
Okay.
more annoying in that you are constantly bombarded about the battle pass. Oh,
Mm.
if you have the battle pass, you get this when you level up.
Are you a cool
Oh,
kid? You get
yeah,
the battle
if
pass.
you
You a
try
cool
to
kid?
select the new character, it's like, oh, either earn this via a special mission or get the battle pass. Like it will just keep reminding you that the battle pass is here and it's
Mm.
here to stay. And if you want like the best stuff or early unlocks instead of earning it, you have to buy it and you have to pay for it. It's just a lot of it's microtransaction-y and they're cashing in on it. I'm sure they're making a lot of money from it, but I would just have preferred if you just charge people the $20 and then, came out with the free heroes, which technically they are, but they're making it so that, for example, this new character right now, I think her name is Kariko. If you
Mhm.
don't if you don't play enough matches essentially to unlock her within the next 3 or 4 weeks, then she won't be able to be obtained anymore freely
Mm.
until who knows when. Like they haven't even told you when you can do that. So you're kind of like on a time limit to try to unlock the new hero, and that takes a lot of hours, a lot of matches to do that. So it's
Okay.
it's it's not my favorite change. I don't like it, but Overwatch is back. A lot of people are playing it, but as an Overwatch 1 player, it's the same game. Literally, the only difference is that there's more players, and now it's 5 versus 5 instead of 6 versus 6. It's the same exact game.
Well, now it
Same.
has the same model as Valorant does. It seems. It seems
Mhm.
like that's always been Overwatch's main competitor. I don't know any other hero shooters besides those two that are like.
Apex is kind of like Apex, I
Apex is a
think.
battle royale though. That's a little different.
Yeah, that's true. That's
I feel
true.
like Apex competes with like Warzone and Fortnite.
Mhm.
While Overwatch, I feel like in Valorant are probably on that same like
Wavelength.
hero shooting arena kind of gameplay.
Right. Now I
Except I don't think
am
Valorant you can use a controller. I
I
believe,
have
right?
I would assume you can. I would assume it's
I
on
remember
like PS5,
I
no?
tried to play and I could not ever get the controller set up, and I was like, "This
Hmm.
is weird," but maybe it was just my thing. But yeah, I think that now Overwatch 1 came out in a time where battle royales really weren't a thing yet.
Right.
It was
Even
like
the
the
team
year before.
shooter thing wasn't as huge as it wasn't as big as when Overwatch came out and made it a thing because they did it in a new, unique way.
Right. And so it's coming out in a different marketplace.
Yeah, you got
I feel
options.
there should have never been an Overwatch 2, but it could have been a success. Like it's possible, especially once they launched that PvE mode. I
Mhm.
think that it's possible that it could be, something huge, but I don't think Overwatch 2 will ever reach the heights of Overwatch 1.
I don't know, I think it will. Well, in terms
The
of
heights?
heights,
I thought Overwatch 1 was like a game of the year. Like it was like.
well, I mean, in terms of, like, critical reception, I think in terms of financially, it will definitely
Oh yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. I'm sorry. I,
sell
I should have
Overwatch
been more
1.
clear. Yes, I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
I don't think that financially it's in trouble. I think
right.
financially it's going to do fine. It's coming out with a
It's gonna do
new.
amazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think from that standpoint they're going to make a lot of money. I think Overwatch 1 was a moment though.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah,
was the Fortnite of its day.
exactly.
And I don't think
And
Overwatch 2, I feel like Overwatch 2 is coming into a marketplace where there's a lot of options for players from a, a shooting standpoint.
Mhm.
And I think it's gonna struggle with that to compete with those big ones, but it's gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's gonna make a lot of fucking money.
Agreed. I think it will. I mean, just being free to play, right? That is gonna get new players into it. When they announce a new hero all the time, everyone will flood to it because it's free. There's less restrictions to play, but at the same time, I also think that it's gonna do so well by charging $20 for a single skin by
Mhm.
getting that money. I think it's gonna do so well that I think we might have another Fortnite situation where Fortnite, they had a PvE mode, right? Save the world, that was supposed to be updated and come out on time, and
That
then
was
they
the main
eventually
mode.
abandoned it. Yeah, and then
Like
they
when
abandoned
Fortnite
it for the
launched, I
perks.
remember I remember when Fortnite launched. Like that was the main thing they were talking about. And I don't think
Yeah,
the
but
battle
it was
royale
in
mode
early
wasn't even
access is the thing.
yeah, the battle royale wasn't even in Fortnite.
Mhm.
And that was added post. Like that's the thing people kind of forget. Like I remember when Fortnite was actually getting previews and stuff. I was like, that looks pretty cool. Okay. But that was way before the
Yeah,
battle
way
royale was
before
even
it
a
blew
thing.
up,
And then
and
I think they saw PUBG and they're like, oh, we could do that even better.
yeah, and
And so
surprisingly, it went better than they thought.
hell,
Anyone
it would
thought.
not surprise me if Overwatch does a battle royale at some point. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Oh, please don't do that. Please don't.
I mean, look, I mean, at this point in time, it's gonna be the second best shooter Activision releases this year.
Crazy.
Because Modern
Well,
Warfare, it has time, but once Modern Warfare 2 comes out, that's it.
yeah, that's
The
true.
conversation completely shifts.
What I
And
am excited for though is when the Activision Microsoft deal goes through, and technically Xbox will own, Overwatch too, or it'll be a part of their portfolio, like it's Beatles is saying in the chat. So it once that happens, it'll definitely be on Game Pass, but it's free to play, right? So they got to offer some goodies, which they do.
they
They offer
will.
some
They
goodies
have to.
with their perks.
They
So
have to. Because
yeah,
remember the Riot deal with Game Pass? Where
uh, what was
Riot
it?
went out on Game, they're saying we're gonna put Overwatch, not Overwatch, we're gonna put Valorant, we're gonna put what's we call it,
Oh
League,
yeah, I do
and
remember
you're
that,
gonna get like
and you're
all
gonna
the
get stuff.
characters unlocked.
Yeah, I
So
think
there's
that's what's gonna
it
happen with
would be a
Overwatch.
damn shame if you have Valorant on Game Pass with all the characters unlocked. And then Overwatch is not on here with all the characters. Like, that'd be a damn shame.
I mean, hey, I'll even take not even the characters unlocked. I will take if you give like a free battle pass or
Mm,
something like that. But like consistently. So every season you get a new battle pass via perks. That would be amazing. I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. Now, how do I
maybe.
get that to my PlayStation account? That's the tough part.
Ugh. I
Yeah.
wouldn't count. I wouldn't count on that. But I think that Overwatch 2, it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. Ask Cyberpunk. I think that you can have a bad launch. It's been proven that you can have a bad launch, and as long as you continue to support your game, people will be forgiven.
Yeah, and they're already doing good. I can get
So
in the game, no problem.
that's the
Now
bare
I just have
minimum, though.
to pay $20 for a skin, but
Oh God. Well, good luck with that.
I refuse.
Man. Well, speaking of eventually paying for a whole bunch of stuff, CD Projekt Red has revealed a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to eventually have to pay for. When we're going to pay for this stuff is the question.
Who
But
knows?
they've announced, as far as I know, it's
So
7
many
things.
things. We gotta break out the calculator because it's a lot. How
So
many things did they announce? Let's see. Okay, so they announced The Witcher, a new Witcher trilogy, which they have already said, right? But they
right,
officially named it. Well, they named their trilogies in terms of like their product names. They gave us like a little inside scoop look into how CD Projekt Red runs. So they said, okay, we got Phantom Liberty coming, Cyberpunk for 2077. We know that's coming. It's the expansion pass for Cyberpunk 2077. Then we have the start of The Witcher things that they're working on. So we have Project Cirrus, which is going to be the first game in their new trilogy. Oh wait, actually, that's a lie. Project Cirrus is a spin-off Witcher game that's being developed by a not CD Projekt Red directly. They're giving it basically to an outside studio and telling them, "Hey, work on this spin-off game in the Witcher universe, and
right.
this will be a single player experience. It's going to be called Project Sirius, and we'll get more news on that The Molasses Flood is the studio that they're handing it off to. So out the gate, we are getting a spinoff for The Witcher. Then we go into the new Witcher trilogy that they're giving. So they're doing Project Polaris, Project Canis Majoris, and Project Orion, which is sorry, I got them mixed up. Project Polaris and Canon Majoris, and then a third one which they did not name, which is going to be the new Witcher trilogy. Then we have, what do we have? Oh gosh, I think, you know what? I'm gonna count them. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 things. Okay, so we have a new IP. We have 2 spin-off games in the Witcher trilogy, in the Witcher franchise. We have a Witcher trilogy, and then we have Phantom Liberty and a new CyberPunk game. That's what we got. 8 different things.
I feel like
So
it's not. I feel
I'm
like
shocked.
one of us is gonna die from old age before these games come out. for all these games are released.
You
Yeah.
know
So
what though? You know what's cool is we talked about it a little bit, but they're passing off 2 of these projects to outside sources, and they're
right.
2 Witcher game experiences, right? So I talked about Project Sirius. That's a single player game developed by another studio, but they're also doing a project called Canis Majoris that they're also passing off to a third party, and that's supposed to be a Witcher multiplayer game, basically.
So they only have 3 games in development at their own internal studios.
No, because they're doing the Witcher trilogy, which is 3 games developed by them.
And I'm sorry, I'm not counting Phantom Liberty because that is
Right,
the
right.
one where that's coming out. That has a date or it has a ballpark date.
It's
We
coming
know that's
soon.
coming early 2023. So I'm not even counting
Exactly.
that. I consider that pretty much completed, and they're
Yeah.
just getting that done. I'm more so saying Witcher 5, Witcher 4,
5,
5,
6.
6, Project Orion.
New CyberPunk game. And
Well,
then also their new IP. They're working on a new IP right now as well,
right.
which no one knows what that is.
I think this
It's a lot.
is uh this is a mistake to do for as far as like if you're trying to be realistic.
They're trying to
I think
branch
if you're
out
trying to
big
increase
time.
your stock price, this is a great thing to do. I think that if you want to project to your investors, we're doing something with all the money you're giving us, sure, this is a great move. But gamers know that this is not, like one of these getting canceled. I don't know which one. One of
Yeah.
these is getting canceled. Garen, I bet
It's
a
not
house
gonna
on it.
it's not gonna be the Witcher trilogy. Those ones
I don't
get
know which
canceled.
one of these games is getting canceled, Alfredo. One of them is getting canceled. I
I
don't know
don't know.
which.
I feel like they could look, I feel like they're not gonna get canceled. What I'm more concerned about is that how long, like you said, how we're gonna be in retirement when these
Alfredo,
come out.
how many games have they released in the past 10 years?
They've
Two.
released,
Two.
yeah,
They've
2.
released 2 games. You're like the idea. Now, look, there's ways to do it where they could release them in a reasonable time. For example, if they made Witcher 4 and 5 like Witcher 1 and 2, okay, we're being a little more realistic here.
Mhm.
And honestly, I might not mind that because I
Yeah,
always said The Witcher 3 is too big of an open world RPG.
it
It's
is.
one of the like it's not bad by any means. I like Witcher 3 a lot, but that's too big of a game.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, do they have fast travel in there, right?
They do.
Okay,
They do.
okay.
But it's just too big of a game. Because
I
wait,
remember it taking so long to
it
get from one because it was before SSDs too. So maybe it's better now, but
it's better now. It's
I
definitely
agree
better
with
now.
you.
But it's and they're gonna release a next gen. Oh, you forgot the next gen version of The Witcher 3? That's coming
Yep,
out too. So you have to
yep.
add that to the list too. Like if they make The Witcher 4 and 5 like Witcher 1 and 2 where they're more linear experiences, you're telling a story. Okay, that's fair. You probably wrap that production up in within 2 years.
Yeah. And Witcher
You have
2
multiple groups.
is a fairly big game. Like, I
Yeah,
enjoy it a lot. They still have the branching choices, branching narrative. They still have that. It's just not as overwhelming as
it's
the
more
choices that you
like,
get
and
in
I'm,
Witcher
and
3.
I'm not trying to say the same thing. It's more like a Naughty Dog experience than Witcher 3.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah.
linear. I think that if they did that, I would be excited for that. I think that would be cool. And that's more realistic. But you can't tell me they're going to make 3 open world Witcher games in my lifetime. Like, I just don't, like, let's be real. That's not happening. Cyberpunk 2077, or whatever it's going to be, Project Orion.
The sequel.
I assume that would come out after Witcher 4. And I
Yeah,
will
I think
say
so.
that
I would hope
game,
so.
I think that game has an easier road because one, I mean, Witcher 4 is going to benefit from it too, but they're going to be working with Unreal Engine 5. So they're not going to have to worry about developing the engine at the same time as the game like they had to do with Cyberpunk 2077. Also, I think there's going to be some multiplayer component to it.
Oh, you mean the multiplayer that was promised us in the first place?
Yes.
That
I
they
think there's gonna be some
completely
sort of
dropped?
yeah. I think that's gonna have I feel like that game is going to be pretty much all the promises that Cyberpunk 2077 had in a game. I feel like
Well, I mean, I don't think you're far off because technically it does say Cyberpunk 2077 sequel that will prove the full power and potential of the Cyberpunk universe.
yeah.
That is a bold claim because of how much they dropped the ball on the first game. So now they're saying, okay, we want a second chance and we're going to do it right this time. And I don't know if you believe them. I don't believe them. I don't think how many people will believe them until it actually comes out.
I believe them from the standpoint of I think it'll be an easier road this time around because there was never like to this day there's not been a game like Cyberpunk 2077. For better or for
Yeah.
worse, there is no game you can buy that's going to give you anywhere near close to this experience Cyberpunk 2077 was. It's a very unique game in a very unique setting. The
Yeah.
game's already been made. So you have the backdrop of 2077 to kind of base this new game on. Like you're not just going in the
Starting from
dark
scratch.
anymore. Exactly. You're using an established engine. So I think I think that and they know that that's the big one. That if they hit that one out the park, all is forgiven. Nobody
Right.
will remember Cyberpunk 2077 if they hit
Yep.
that one out the park.
I mean,
I
people
just
are already
don't know
starting
when
to
we're gonna get
forget,
that.
right? Because
No,
it came out.
no. I feel like the people who like it are like liking it now, but I don't think anybody's ever gonna forget.
I mean, well, for
It's just in the
more, they're
moment right
starting to
now.
forgive it, right? Because we all remember how bad it was, but now it's actually playable on everything. It's a good game. It's not a great game. It doesn't
It's no
capture
Bioshock
what
Infinite. It's no Last of Us.
yeah, it's not something extraordinary that everyone has to play, but right now it's a good game and that's good enough. Now, you're promising us the sequel is going to hit those highs. Is it though? Like, can we actually trust you? I mean, you put out a good anime show.
I trust
You put out a
them.
good
I do
base game.
trust them to make it good because I think that the Cyberpunk's issues are all related to not enough development time. Like that's
Yeah.
all it is. And
But look, they had how much development time with Cyberpunk? They
I'm
had
saying
like I
active
feel like a
development
decade.
time. No. They announced it. They went into
Yeah, but
actual
that's the
production, I believe,
thing.
like 2016.
That's the thing though. That's another thing. Why would you actually announce it that far ahead and have the hype so big? I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure in a bit.
Well, that I feel like this goes to the core of the problem with this announcement because it's literally retreading the same mistakes they made initially with because Cyberpunk 2077 was announced
So early.
2013.
Sounds about right.
So we're talking 2 years before Witcher 3 was done.
Mm-hmm.
And Witcher 3 was such a grand game as well. So it's like you're trying to launch these 2 open world RPGs that are really doing stuff that no other like open world RPGs are doing. And you're launching it back to back. That needs time.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying it's a problem. Like, yeah, I want games to kind of advance and stuff, but at the same time, like we don't always need some open world RPGs. I feel these franchises I could use a linear Cyberpunk game.
Yeah. I think we all could.
You know, I could use
That's fair.
another linear Witcher game too. Like I think that
Mhm.
would be cool too. And there's no way out of these 7, I think you might get 1 or 2 that are
Yeah.
open world. Like
Yeah.
I don't think all 7 are definitely not all 7 gonna be open world, but I don't even think you're getting even 3. I think that Cyberpunk sequel is gonna be open world, and I think only one of these Witcher games is gonna be open world.
I think it's going to be really interesting seeing which one comes out first, which we assume will be
Witcher
The
4 is coming
Witcher
out
4,
first.
right? Okay,
That's
yeah.
already. I feel like that's already in production.
And
Yeah,
I feel
it's already in
like
production.
I honestly feel like they are going to I feel like they might test the waters with it. Because I do feel like it's the first one in development. I think that one is going to be the one that's going to be open world.
I do
I
too.
don't think they're going to scale it back. But depending on the state of that game, I feel like that might influence what happens with 5, what happens with 6 in terms of okay, I think that they are planning all of them to be these open world experiences because that's now their signature. They CD's Project Red puts out these massive open world games. I feel like they are going to do that with 4 and then depending on if it's a hit or not, if it's filled with bugs, if people can play it on their consoles, that will determine okay, what's happening with 5 next? What's going to happen with our next project? But they're starting kind of like they're not starting in a great place because they have to earn back goodwill. They're doing that right now with how they're treating Cyberpunk 2077, but they're still I feel like people are still unsure about them and them coming out and said, "Oh, hey, we're going to work on these 8 projects." Granted, 2 of them are like being worked on an outside source, outside studios, but we're working on all of these different things in the first place when we couldn't even work on Cyberpunk 2077 and deliver the experience that we said we were going to give to you guys. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like they are counting their chickens before they hatch.
I think they're just trying to get investors happy and excited. I think that's really all it is. I think that gamers in the know that this is not going to be. We're not going to have all these games out
Mhm.
within a console generation, maybe not even 2 console generations.
Oh my
And
god, can you imagine though?
yeah, I can imagine. They released 2 games in 10 years.
Two, but
Well, oh, I'm sorry. 3 games because Gwent was a game too. So
Gwent
sure,
counts. Gwent
Gwent
counts.
counts. So
Good
because that
game.
I assume that one of these games is going to be kind of like that.
Yeah. Well,
So they released 3 games in 10 years. Do I think they can release 7 games in 10 years as a developer and a publisher? No.
so
No, I
here's the
just
thing,
don't.
Thomas. So, okay, Project Polaris. That
That's
is
the
the
one that's
project.
outsourced, right?
No, that's the one that's encompassing all 3 Witcher games.
Oh, that's Witcher 4. No, I'm sorry.
It's Witcher
Polaris is
4,
Witcher
5,
4.
and 6.
Well, no, it
Is
says
all of
Polaris on IGN. It says Polaris, aka Witcher 4.
Yeah, but it's actually all 3. So these are tweets that CD Projekt Red put out directly. So they have all that information. So they said they're in pre-production for it now for 4, 5, and 6. Now, the alarming thing is that they state that all 3 games in the trilogy will be delivered within a 6-year period following the Polaris release.
Well, there's only 2
So,
ways that could work then. Like, because if let's say all the open world, maybe they all share the same open world, and you're only changing like the linear aspects of the game.
but then do you want 3 different games to be in this on the same exact map though?
I wouldn't care.
I'd be scared. I would. I feel
No,
because
because
then it would
if
just
you're
feel like I'm
changing
playing.
if you're literally changing the story parts and the story parts don't look the same,
Mhm.
I don't care. That map is big. Like, I don't know what more you can do with that Witcher map. Like, I wouldn't want that bigger.
But here's the thing, Thomas, though. They did exactly what you're proposing, where, they did the same exact map for Witcher 3, and all they changed was the story, but they did it in expansion packs. And I feel like that's would be how you would have to do it and justify paying another, what, $70 in order to get a new game when it's only just story content.
Well, yeah,
Just release an
I think they
expansion.
learned their lesson because the expansion, I assume, did not net them the amount of money it could have, at least for Witcher 3. Because those expansions were sold pretty cheap, and you can make the argument those are full-fledged games.
Yeah, I think
So
yeah,
I think that
that's fair.
the
I think it did pretty well
the
though.
cost, like, ratio to that, they probably lost money on those for as far as development goes, and based on how much they charged.
I
When
don't
you
know.
could have charged
I
$60 for eat both of those,
I
and it
think that
would
would
have
be
been
too
like kind of
much.
justified.
Let me look it up because I do remember hearing that they actually did pretty well on the Witcher 3 expansions. I could be wrong. Let me
I'm
just
sure they made their money in general because they've released like collectors. They've released like Game of the Year editions of it. Like, so
mhm,
I'm just saying in terms of like they were like $20 each when they first came
right,
out. You
right.
could have charged 60 for those,
Mhm.
and I don't think anybody would have been really upset because those have to be the biggest expansions for any single player game ever.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe they're gonna, instead of doing expansions, maybe it's gonna be like, yeah, Witcher 5 and 6, same map, the same expand. Like, I can
I
see
would
that. Like
hate
that would make them.
that.
I
I
would.
would hate it.
It would be the most realistic to accomplish this because how long is it gonna take to release 3 open world games with 3 different maps?
Apparently only 6 years.
But you know that's not the case.
So, what they're saying, like, Witcher 4 will come out, and then within 6 years, 2 and 3 or 5 and 6 will come out. So, 4 comes out, and then 3 years later, the 5th game comes out, and then 3 years after that, the 6th game comes out. That's what they're saying. I think that's realistic given
Not
that
for them. Not for them.
Damn.
Like I'm just saying, like I like this developer. I've liked pretty much all the games I've played from them. They've never let me down in terms of the quality of game.
Mhm.
They take their time to make great worlds. Like
Sometimes.
to automate. I mean, Cyberpunk is a great world, even though
I
it's
mean,
not.
worlds, yes, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So like to expect them to create 3 completely different open worlds within 2 years. I'm sorry, 2 years of each, right? Like that's what the
3
ratio.
years of each, because
So
it's
9
6
years in
years.
total.
Yeah. Well, we don't know when the Witcher 4 is coming out. We don't know when that comes out.
I would assume that's gonna probably be a 2024 game. Like I would guess it's
That
24.
that's so soon though.
I feel like they're not gonna want to be out of the mind share all that. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm,
feel like they're gonna want something coming out every year. They're gonna probably want, because they're gonna have Phantom Liberty come out early next year. I
mhm,
feel like late 2024, I think we can expect Witcher 4. And
mhm.
then maybe 2026, you can expect the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077.
Whew. That's a good I was thinking like 2025
Because
at least for
I
Witcher
have
4.
I have to imagine that they separated teams. I have like
Yeah,
they haven't discussed that, but I have to guess that they're going Naughty Dog and they're separating out the teams for this.
yeah.
Where
That
it's
sounds
like
right.
you're not having many people working on both. Like you have different teams working on each game. Because that's the only way this works. I mean, they're not at a loss of employees. Like they have a lot of employees to get this done.
Mhm.
And it's not like in PlayStation 3 era, we saw this where series would have like 3 games on one console.
Yep.
Like that's not, we're not so far away. Like Uncharted 1 through 3 came out. I'm sorry, I keep going to Naughty Dog, but they Naughty Dog released Uncharted 1 and 3 on one console generation. Now,
Mhm.
mind you, that is not an open world game, but I feel like in terms of the level of detail that Naughty Dog does, like releasing 3 of those within a console generation
I
is,
mean,
and
Uncharted
they
1
and
was
they released 4
great.
games because they released Last of Us as well.
Yeah.
They released
Yeah.
4 games on one console generation. So it's not impossible, but you're not
But
going to release 3 open world games with different open worlds.
yeah, within a 9-ish year period, somewhere around there.
Right. Like so, and by the time
I
you
agree.
get to a certain point, one of them's probably going to be canceled. You probably gonna have new management or whatever because that's a
They
long time. That's
they won't cancel any of the trilogy. They won't do that though. I
I'm
can't
not,
see it. It
I'm not
makes
saying
them
they'll
too much
cancel it,
money.
but they might scale down the vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like maybe we should make this open world. Maybe this should be a linear experience, like Nick is saying. Like,
But can you imagine though having okay, you have the trilogy. Fourth one comes out, is open world, and then they're like, "Oh wait, the fifth one is going to be a small experience." That's kind of crazy,
yeah,
isn't it? Because you
yeah.
can't just go from something that's so big to something so small.
Well, I mean, you can make the case of when The Witcher 3 was coming out. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, like we're gonna make this an open world game now after it's already been a linear game, you know. So it's like you can make the case that was kind of a jarring thing, and they did it anyways. So if they
Right.
went back to linear, I don't think people would be that upset because when The Witcher 3 came out, nobody knew who Geralt was. Now Geralt's a household name.
Yeah.
So I think if you made a very quality single player linear experience and called it Witcher 4, I don't think people would be that upset about it. And just for
yeah.
this timeline standpoint of when these games are coming out, that'd make the most sense.
But also, I don't think that. But for Geralt, I don't think he's going to be like the protagonist of Witcher 4. I would assume it's like a completely new Witcher and like from a different school. Like instead of being from the Wolf school, he'll be like from one of the other 5.
Well, they can go a lot of different directions. They can go
Yeah.
prequel. Like they can follow. I don't want to spoil Witcher 3, but they could follow another character within Witcher.
Wink,
There's
wink,
a
nudge,
lot
nudge.
because there's no guarantee it's gonna be called Witcher 4.
Yeah.
It could be called Witcher something else, like Witcher New Beginnings or something like that. Like, it's very possible. Like we're following, it's gonna be a different experience than what we're expecting.
Right.
So I just feel to end it. I just feel that they have bitten off a lot, and I expect this is going to be something we follow for a very long time. And I feel like by the time all this is finished, one of our kids are going to be in college. Who's? I don't know. I don't know. But some kids going to college by the time the last game in this thing comes out.
Hey, one last thing for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the spin-off games from one of the studios in the Witcher universe, they already said it's going to be an open world RPG, single player, story driven. So
Okay. I'm
I
looking
would like
forward.
to see actually if the spin-off, maybe we're not a Witcher because we're already doing that in the trilogy. Maybe we're a mage. Who knows?
Maybe you're one of the dudes who sings.
A bard?
Yeah, maybe you're a bard. Maybe it's like a rhythm game.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see.
But
We'll see. A
yeah.
rhythm game. Can you imagine?
Hey
Rhythm
man,
game
anything's
open
possible.
RPG. Open
Anything
world.
is possible. And we learned that also that anything's possible because PlayStation has released their new service to compete with, I think both Microsoft and Nintendo have reward services that are pretty compelling. And so Sony was without for a while, and they have released their program called PlayStation Stars, and it has gotten a mixed reception due to it's like they're selling NFTs, but they're not NFTs. It's like digital collectibles based
Hate
on
it already.
digital collections based on things you do, like in terms of if you buy your games digitally, if you get certain trophies and everything, do certain quests. So very similar to Microsoft's program, they have the same kind of thing. What's weird about this is it's being reported that members are getting priority support depending on their ranking because there's a 4-tier system. And if you are in the highest tier, you get priority when you call in support. So it's gotten a mixed reception. And I will say before you start, that's not the rarest thing in the world. I have heard many programs like Dell, for example. If you are a high tier member, if you bought a lot of Dell products, then you do get higher priority when you call support. It's not like PlayStation made that up. They're not like, oh, we hate gamers who don't buy our stuff. Like, no. This is just something that other companies do that they're just adding. So it's not the worst thing in the world to me. But overall, I feel like this service so far I'm not really interested in, but maybe it's not maybe it's not marketed to me.
So I need some answers from you, Thomas. So this loyalty program, okay, you get a trophy, you get bumped into a higher tier, right? Is that kind of how it works? You can either get bumped into those different tiers by either buying PlayStation games directly from the PlayStation Store, right? Or 2, by earning trophies, basically, right? And playing the games. Okay. So my question then, first, I got a lot of questions. What are you earning exactly? You're earning like digital collectibles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and they still have not announced, oh, how are you going to show off these digital collectibles, right? We don't have a PlayStation
We
Home
already
or
know my
anything like
working theory, right?
Yeah, PlayStation Home, something like that, right?
I just feel it would make the most sense. That would make this program make a lot more sense because PlayStation Home. let's say you get a platinum in like Bloodborne, right?
Mhm.
And like you're really proud of that platinum. What if that platinum was an actual platinum trophy in your VR PlayStation home
That would
house?
be cool.
Like
That'd be worth
that
it.
makes sense.
Makes sense.
I think it
But
makes too much sense that they're
but
like,
they
oh, it makes
they
too much sense
haven't.
that we can't do it.
Exactly. Then why didn't they announce it? Because I feel like, first of all, we talked about this before, but it's a little bit of an on move to come out with PlayStation Stars and then be like, "Oh, it's digital collectibles. Nothing to do with but you'll get the collectible." So that's a
I mean,
little
I feel like
weird.
we're still a little far from like PlayStation VR
Yeah.
2. Like that's like what, summer next year?
Even sooner. No, it's like first quarter.
It's first quarter.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Something tells me that's
somewhere,
getting
I believe
delayed. Like,
so.
I don't know. Something tells me that's getting delayed. I hope it doesn't, but something tells me like they're gonna want more PS5s out in the wild before they get that out there. I mean, we'll get to that in a second.
Mhm.
But
How many
right
PS5s?
now, there's still a big demand for PlayStation 5, and this is a PlayStation 5 only peripheral. And so
Right.
I don't think they want this to just fail. And
Yeah.
I think they'd rather hold it until it's ready than just try to rush it out because there's really no incentive to rush it out.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they have sold 20 million PS5s, apparently, is the number that they're saying right now.
But
So, I mean,
you gotta
it's
imagine like
decent.
out of 20 million PS5s, like I have friends
Like
who have
one.
PS5s, not one of them is looking for no VR unit. Not
Are
one.
you looking forward to it?
I'm not looking forward to it at the price point it's gonna be.
How much
Like,
do you think it's gonna be? I think
I
it's
think it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
like
four.
5.
It's gonna be
Okay, I was
400.
thinking more.
I think it's gonna be competitive with the Oculus. I think it's gonna be 400. That's still too
Okay.
much for me. I'm not. I don't know. I'm gonna buy it
So
off top.
they already came out and said they're limiting PSVR to either 1 million or 2 million. I think it's 2
I think it's
million.
2 million. 2 million.
Okay, yeah. So they're only trying to sell that much anyway. That's the amount they're
Well, I think it's
going.
impressive they're even setting aside 2 million. You know, because
I
I
think
don't know
that's
if
a safe
I
number.
don't think it's gonna sell 2 million. Like I don't think it's gonna, like it's not like I don't think this is gonna sell out. This might be the one release that might not sell. Like the one because I feel like
That's what
every
happened
single
with
like big tech
VR1,
product in the past 2-3 years, as soon as it's released, sells out immediately.
except the PSVR1. That was just sitting on the shelves.
That was 5 years ago. I'm saying
Yeah.
like from the past since like COVID, like since
Okay.
COVID, really, it's been hard. Whenever something releases, like remember the OLED Switch?
I
You
sure
couldn't
do.
find that thing. You couldn't find that thing for like 6 months. It was weird. But I think that this is so niche and is going to be so. This is probably going to be the most expensive peripheral since the PlayStation VR1.
Yeah. Especially since niche, especially because they have not shown us any games that have been like, oh, I have to have that.
Well, I would say Horizon is one of those. That's gonna be a good game. Like that looks like it's gonna be Half-Life Alex esque. Like
It
it looks
does.
like it's gonna
It
be,
does.
and really you can't do better than that.
Yeah.
Like that's a. I think that is a good show off game.
Hey,
I
I'm
don't
just
think there is
saying.
any VR game that is like a killer app.
Yeah, not yet. But what you can do is you can give me Horizon, but also give me other things. I'm not going to buy it just for one game. Give me Blood and Truth sequel. Give me Astrobot 2. All of that.
Mhm.
That's
Well,
all
you're
I'm
gonna
saying.
get PlayStation 5 updated versions of those. So you're gonna have like that to market, like, oh, play the updated high res
Okay.
version of these
That you
games. Because
have to buy again though because it's not backwards compatible.
well, I honestly don't. I think there's going to be some level of if you've bought these games in the past.
You are giving
Like
them
on
too much
PlayStation Play,
credit.
no. I feel like on like PlayStation Plus. Like it might be
Yeah,
if you own PlayStation Plus, if you own like the essential or the what's that the ooh
the base game,
no the
PS4
essential like
version.
the tiers of PlayStation
Oh,
Plus.
got ya.
Like if
Uh,
you are in the highest tier of PlayStation Plus, you will get Astrobot PS5. You know what I'm saying? I feel
I
like
got ya.
that, like I feel like there's no way they're gonna just say, okay, Astrobot Rescue Mission, $50 straight up. For like,
Really?
I just don't. That's
Really?
just bad. That'd be
Thomas,
just bad. Like
Thomas, Thomas. Though they are making Horizon remake right now, and they're
we
probably going to
we
charge
don't know that for sure.
$70.
We don't know that for sure.
I'm just saying. But to get us a
And
little bit more on
you know,
track again,
no,
the
no, but
priority
I'm just saying I don't think because PlayStation, to their credit, for the past since the PlayStation 5 has dropped, they've released a lot of free games. Like the PlayStation Plus collection came out when PlayStation 5 dropped, gave you 14 games, like 14 of the best PlayStation 4 games off top. As soon as you own the console, you have 14 games off top to play. You know, I think they've done a good job of when they release things, having things ready. I refuse to believe they're going to release this new VR unit and not have anything ready to play for free. I just don't believe.
Mhm.
That
They'll
just doesn't make
probably
any
do a demo
sense.
disc like they did with VR1. I could see that. Like
Well,
everything, it
that's the
comes with
bare.
a demo disc,
See,
basically.
that's the bare minimum. I think they're
Yeah,
going
you
to
got it.
have their best PlayStation VR1 titles ready. Because Ben was saying it too, like it'd be hard to port, it's hard to make it backwards compatible because they use the Move controllers.
Mhm.
So every VR game is not going to be compatible with PlayStation VR 2. But
Right,
I
they would
do
have to remake
believe the
it.
big ones, I do believe Astrobot will. I think Iron Man will. I think that maybe like
Modern
Arkham VR
Trilogy.
will. I think that those Moss will. I think that those games, I think you're gonna get for free. Because you're gonna
I
need you're
can
gonna
see it.
need to give an incentive to buy this thing. Because I don't think this thing is as easy of a sell as like we're making out. I don't think it's an easy sell at all. I think it's gonna be an uphill battle for this thing to get like people engaged with it. So
Hey, I'm just
for
saying.
them shooting themselves in the foot by also saying, "Oh yeah, you gotta pay $50 for all these experiences that you might already own."
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think I don't think they're gonna do that. That don't make sense to me.
All I'm saying is Sony's been greedy lately. I wouldn't put it past them.
They've
Now,
been greedy when it comes to stuff they know they're gonna make money on. I don't think they're gonna make money on making a PlayStation 5 version of Astrobot that costs $50. Like that does not seem like a cost-effective thing to do.
I don't know. I don't know, Thomas. I think they won't make you pay for it. But we'll
I think
see.
it's just I don't think that they would let this thing fail. Like that because that if you do that, you are setting this thing up to fail from jump, to
Mhm.
not have any games ready for it to be played. Like
Well, I
that
mean, I think
that
that
is a
well, I
L.
think they can counteract that by actually having games, right? We know that there are some games like Horizon coming out, right?
I'm
But
saying
I'm sure.
free games specifically.
Oh yeah, no, they're
Like
not doing
off
free
top, I
games.
think you're gonna have to have something to because you're paying $400 to $500 for this thing.
Yeah, and that's what the demo disc is for, Thomas. So you can test it out those games and then see if you actually want to buy them.
I just think saying they're greedy, like yes, PlayStation is greedy, but they did give you 14 free games for PlayStation 5 off top. You got 14 of the best games. You got literally some of the best games ever. Be
Yeah,
real.
but those all of those games are like $20 now, $10 even.
How much is Astrobot?
Astrobot
Astro?
is
I think it's like
Astrobot was free.
I'm saying
You
like
could.
Astrobot's been released free before. Like,
Mhm.
I really do think they're going to have some free offerings for this thing. Now, do
Okay,
I
I
think
can see
Beat
what you're
Saber is going to
saying.
be? Do I think Beat Saber is going to be free? No. Like
Nah.
there are going to be a good amount of games you still have to pay for.
Yeah.
I think they're going to give you at least like their first party games that
Okay,
were
but
released.
also though, how many of those first party games are worth playing though?
Well, I said five. Like I say, like
5?
Iron Man.
Oh, I don't think they're gonna give you Iron Man.
I think Iron Man. I think the big ones they're gonna give you. I think they're gonna give you Iron Man. I think they're gonna give you Astrobot. You know, I think those tier of games, you're probably gonna get Resident Evil 7 off top.
Mhm.
Like, I think
I
you're
can
gonna
see that.
get those games for free. Because those are older titles at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I think there's no incentive to make this a $50 thing when it's
Look,
already
I
for free
I
on
would
like
have said I would have been behind you if it wasn't for the fact that they said that PSVR 2 is not backwards compatible. So I think that it would be way too much work for them to, remake all of these games and then on top of it make it free. I don't think
That's
they
what I'm
can
saying. It's only the
justify
big
that.
games. That's what I'm saying. It's only the big games. Like, because if to say it's backwards compatible, there's a lot of games that you'd have to include. So
Exactly.
I think they're going to make. I feel like they're going to release Astrobot, for example, for free, and at the same time they're going to announce Astrobot 2. Like, I think,
I could see an Astrobot 2 like bundle or some sort. I don't know.
yeah, I can
I
see
don't
like
know.
they're not going to give you that for free, but
Yeah.
I think the original one, like, yeah, I think they'll give you that for free. They're not like they're not Nintendo. Like, then let's be real. Like,
You say
we
that.
understand
You say that.
Sony is bad and greedy sometimes, but they're not Nintendo. You're describing it.
Sometimes? Okay, if you say
Imagine
so.
Nintendo giving you 14 of their games from the last console generation for free.
I mean, they do it
Right?
with their subscription, same as Sony.
I'm saying the
They're
last console generation.
well,
You
I
know,
mean, you have the
They give
emulator.
you no Wii U games for
I
free.
mean, you don't
They're
need
charging
that, though.
$60 a pop for
You
those.
don't need that, though.
No, what I'm saying, they're not gonna give you any new games. Like,
Oh, yeah,
Nintendo's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Sony said we're gonna just give you God of War, Last of Us,
Those
Uncharted.
aren't new, though. Those are not
Those are from the
new.
last console generation.
Those aren't new, Thomas. It doesn't count.
Compared to like Super Mario and the Link Between, you know what I'm saying? Like those are new compared to that. I'm saying Nintendo would never give you any relatively modern games for free ever.
Okay, but how many Nintendo relatively modern games do you actually want? Do you want a game
I
from
could
the
have
Wii
used
U?
Super Smash Brothers for Wii U day
Okay,
one
but
on
that's one
Switch.
game.
I
Name
could have
something
used
else.
Mario Kart 8 for like release. Like there's a whole bunch of games for Wii U I could have used.
Yeah, but Mario Kart 8, now you have that.
Yeah,
Now
for
you gotta pay
$60.
for
That's my point. They only like they're never gonna give you anything that's relatively modern for
it.
free ever.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Sony gave you 14 of their
Old
best games.
games. Games are
God of
old.
War came out like 2 years before that.
Still old. Hey,
For,
I'm not giving them any credit, okay? They're out
you
here
don't think that
charging.
them giving you
They're
14 games for free off
no,
top
they're
isn't
out
like
here
enough?
charging people for an upgrade when Xbox is doing it for free. They're charging people for upgrades. They're the ones pushing $70 for all their new games. They're the ones doing all of this. So
I mean,
I'm not
Xbox is
giving them
Dollar Tree
okay.
over here. Like, we're not even talking about Xbox. Obviously, Xbox, in terms of consumer-friendly decisions, is number one. I'm not arguing that. I'm
Mhm.
saying you're treating Sony like they're Nintendo,
I
and that is
mean,
completely come on. Like Nintendo,
you know what?
Alfredo? Do you remember the Switch experience day one?
I don't. I didn't get a Switch day one.
Do you know how many games were available? Five. Five
Makes sense.
games were available for the first 2 months of that system.
Makes sense.
PlayStation 5, you at very least had 14 free games. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Sony is just different than Nintendo. Like, it's not the same. Like Nintendo is legit like anti-consumer. I can ultimately
They're not anti-consumer. They just know that the
you're
fans
dying
will
on that
buy.
hill.
They just know that the
Are they
fans will buy.
pro-consumer?
Hey, they're making good of a good situation. They know the fans are rabid, and they're going to take advantage of that, just like PlayStation.
PlayStation will really give you something for free with PlayStation VR too, because they don't want this thing to die. It is
Demo
like
disc.
if it die, because if this dies, they're done with VR.
Mhm.
So they know they cannot afford to mess this up. They're gonna have something for free. They're going to have a lot of things up and coming. And they're gonna have a select few games that are gonna be remastered, like the Star Wars game that was announced.
Mhm.
So I think that PlayStation Stars, just to get back on that, because that was the original topic. So you started saying that Nintendo and Sony on the same tier of selfishness, like, oh my gosh. But PlayStation Stars, I feel, will benefit from PlayStation VR too. I think that there's going to be some level of, if it's not PlayStation Home, it's going to be something that is tangible within VR.
They need to on their next their actual VR showcase, which we haven't really gotten still. They need to announce exactly what you're saying. PlayStation out in the very least, they need to announce PlayStation Home. Something like that is special that will make us go like, "Oh, I need to get a PSVR 2 system because I
Here,
want to be able to actually use my collectibles, get back inside this specific environment, this specific game." I feel like that in and of itself will be the boost that they need. In addition to announcing more games that, look along the lines of Horizon, like that terms of quality.
I mean, here's what they need to do in the VR conference. They need to announce a whole bunch of new games that are up and coming. They need to announce the PlayStation Plus VR collection. They need to announce the sequels to their best games. Give me an Iron Man 2. Give me a Astrobot
Bioshock
Rescue Mission
2.
2. Give those and announce PlayStation Home VR. Like if you announce those, if you announce all and put Half-Life Alex on there too. You need to get that on there somehow.
Ooh, they do. They do.
I mean, if it could run on my Quest 2, come on. Come on, it looks pretty damn good on my Quest 2. Come
Hey,
on.
right now, I'll give you a prediction. I think they are going to do in the very like maximum. They'll give you Astrobot 2 for free. They'll do that. They'll give you the demo disc that comes with your PSVR 2, and that's it.
They're not
Oh,
giving you a.
and you'll have
I've heard,
PlayStation
one,
VR
they're not
Home.
giving you a. They're not going
That's
to give
it.
you no disc.
They'll
That's
give
not
you.
happening.
That's what they
People
did
don't
with
have.
PSVR 1.
Alfredo, people don't
Right?
have this PS.
Oh, right. I'm not a you know what I mean. You know what they'll give you that
They're about to give you
PlayStation
a
demo.
disc, and you're like, what do I do with this?
They'll give you that for free. So 2 things for free. I don't think they're going to do a PSVR collection, but I think they'll give those 2 things for free, and then on top of it, if they're smart, PlayStation VR Home to give you that, make the loyalty program make more sense. Oh, one thing I do want to say actually
Mhm,
about PlayStation Stars loyalty, though, Thomas, we got
mhm,
super sidetracked. One thing I wanted to say is that, okay, I understand some people are getting priority support. I
mhm.
guess that's fine. I don't really find myself calling Sony for customer support, so whatever. Now, what I'm concerned about is for people like me. I love physical discs, right? I'm not getting rewarded for buying PlayStation games physically anymore. You only get rewarded
Can
if you
you
buy
not buy
them
them from
digital.
PlayStation Direct?
I think it's only digital, is what I would assume,
Hmm.
because that's what would make Sony the most amount of money. But what I
Yeah, I mean
do
for
know,
sure, yeah. But I
what
think
I
you can buy physical games on Direct. Can you see me?
yeah, I can hear you.
My computer just went black for a second. I
Oh,
thought I lost everything. Okay,
no, I'm still here. What
okay.
I'm concerned about, what I know for a fact is that if
Alfredo,
I
you
go
can
to
buy. You can
GameStop,
buy it. No, I'm looking online. You can buy it. You can buy physical games on PlayStation Direct.
okay, will that count? That will count?
Yeah, as long as it's on PlayStation Direct, you're good.
Okay, but now I gotta go on PlayStation Direct, wait for it to come, what, in 5 to 7 business days, and then I get my game?
Yeah,
All for a loyalty
like
program
anywhere
that doesn't make
else,
sense? What?
anywhere else, you're gonna get it from. What do you
The
mean?
store! Why can't you do what
Why would
Nintendo
they
Hey,
hold? Why would
look,
they give you rewards points for buying the game at Target?
Thomas, because that's exactly what Nintendo does. If you buy a game, you get a code inside of your physical media, your case, saying, "Hey, this is the code that you enter in on
Mhm.
Nintendo." Why can't PlayStation do that? I'm buying their games, I'm supporting them.
That sounds
Like,
pretty.
what?
The way
What?
Nintendo does it is pretty complicated. I'm not gonna
No, it's
lie.
not. That's simple. You
They
just
have
redeem
like
a code.
no. They I've never been a big fan of how they do their rewards because it is kind of like you get like chump change pretty much for every.
I mean, at least they give you something. Sony's out here just now doing that and not even doing it to the degree that anti-consumer Nintendo, as you say, is doing it. See? Who's
The
anti-consumer
one thing
now?
about Nintendo that I do give them credit for is they have not shied away from physical media.
Yeah.
But they are the only company in
Those
gaming that
giant
is.
cases and that tiny little tablet.
I mean, I gotta imagine that their production costs on their is very low in
Yeah,
terms because they're not making discs, they're making cartridges. I
right.
just think it's a lot lower.
And I
So
believe they're reducing. I believe they have said that they're gonna reduce like the cases to more
mhm,
fit. I think.
yeah.
I think we'll see.
So it's like they're probably making those games for chump change.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's not. I mean, from a physical collection perspective, that's. I mean, I respect them for that. They're horrible in every other regard, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's a. I mean, that is a plus. I just think that Sony and Microsoft are just like, don't fucking buy disc anymore, bro. Like, just be done
Which
with
I
that.
hate. I'm not about that life.
I mean, look, I don't buy disc anymore. I still buy Nintendo cartridges. I don't know what it is, but I like the form factor of the case of the Switch, and I love the cartridges. So it's like I will always probably still buy those cartridges. I have Xenoblade 3 on cartridge. I have all the games I bought this year. I don't think I bought a single digital game this year on Switch. I think all of them are
Mhm.
physical.
I buy some of
So
them. Only the indie ones though on
yeah,
Switch.
maybe yeah, indie games that don't have any
Right.
physical releases I'll buy. But yeah, no, it's like I I respect the fact that Nintendo does this, but this is a convoluted system, and I get very little. I get very little for redeeming these physical points. I've done it.
Mhm.
Like I redeemed some physical points, but here's 100 points. What's that equivalent to?
A
$1.
cent.
Thanks,
Oh,
Nintendo.
better than
Maybe
I thought.
I'm sorry. No, it's a little less. You're right. It's a little less than it's not even $1. It's like 50 cents. Like,
Okay.
thanks, Nintendo. I guess I'll buy like a DLC for a game like in the next like 10 games I buy. Like like the ratio for it is not good. The best reward service is most definitely Xboxes.
Oh, for sure.
Because Xbox is like you can just be playing the game and you can get points on your Microsoft account. And
Also, you could just use Bing. They'll give you points.
like I had a lot of points saved up. I didn't even realize. And I like just renewed my Microsoft Office.
I need to do that.
Yeah, I
Actually,
renewed
I
my
think I have a
Microsoft.
lot too.
Yeah,
Because
I
you
renewed
just
my
play the games like you said, and you get
but what
points.
it's not even just the games, also just using Windows in general.
Yeah.
Because I have my work laptop kind of hooked up to it. So I racked up a lot of points with that just based on buying certain things and everything. So I renewed my Microsoft like Office subscription. I think it was like $30, $40. I'm like, oh, I had $30, $40 worth of rewards on here. God knows how many games on Nintendo I'd have to buy to get $30, $40 in rewards.
1,000. Probably more.
1,000. So I think that PlayStation Stars has an uphill battle, but we will see what goes on with that. But let's get to another game that actually has an uphill battle, which
Yeah.
is the Dead Space remake. We saw the trailer for that this week. I am mildly excited as somebody who never finished the original Dead Space. Had it on pretty much every console. Excuse me, but
Really?
I'm
You never finished it. I thought you did because you were so into the Callisto Protocol.
yeah. I
So
mean,
I
I
thought you
like
were
the
a fan of
vibe.
Dead
I
Space.
like the. I have gotten halfway through all the Dead Space games. And I don't
Mm,
know, like horror games in general just lose my interest. I don't know, like horror in general loses my interest.
not a fan, huh?
I always like where things start, and then slowly I'm like, it's not scary anymore. All right.
You're like, just kill him.
Now maybe it's because I don't scare easily. I think that is the core of it, where I don't scare easily, especially if I know why. Like I know why this is scary. Like if I
Right.
start like even the scariest movies, like I remember I used to be really afraid of horror movies until my older sister was like, the same thing always happens in every single horror movie. It just happens in a different way. And I'm like, oh, I guess you're right. And I've never been able to
Taking
shake
the
that.
joy out of
Yeah, and
horror
honestly,
movies.
ever since then, I was never afraid of a horror movie ever again. Because always the same shit.
I feel like
Dead
horror
Space was
games are different though. Because like there's that interactivity. Like you are now the dumb, teen running through the forest.
yeah, that's true. And Dead Space, I would say, out of all the horror games, probably has the most unique setting. It's obviously taken a lot of influence from Alien, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like that's a horror movie that is way different than
Mhm.
most horror movies because I don't even think it's even considered a horror movie. It's considered like a sci-fi movie, but it's a horror movie. And Dead Space kind of matches that.
Mhm.
I love how this trailer looked. It looked very like it didn't look as visceral as Callisto Protocol.
For sure.
Callisto Protocol looks this side of like Last of Us Part 2, one of the most
Mhm.
visceral looking games I've ever
It's
seen in
like there
terms
are
of
monsters
cutscenes.
coming at you. They look scary, and they're literally gonna be gore everywhere in
All
Callisto
right.
Protocol.
And
This
Dead
one was
Space,
more subtle.
yeah, Dead Space remake seemed more like it's going to be a one for one remake of the original, which I think is gonna be interesting because then I'll finally finish it.
Mhm.
But this is not something I'm probably gonna buy day one because I know this is gonna be on EA Play at some point, and I have EA Play for PC and I have it on Game Pass, so
Mhm.
I will have this game for free probably around summertime next year. So I'm probably gonna wait till then, but I hope this
Fair.
game does well. I hope it looked really impressive to me.
I don't know. I really am struggling with this one because I was a Dead Space fan. I played Dead
Mhm.
Space, Dead Space 2, even 3. 3 was the only one I didn't finish because, that's the one that
Three's bad.
branch. Yeah,
Three's bad.
yeah,
Three
people
is
don't
not a
like it.
horror. Three is not a horror game.
Yeah, it's more like an action game. So I never actually finished that. But I was excited for the remake. All of that excitement has kind of went out the door
Oh no!
for a couple of
Damn.
reasons. So I watched the trailer. It's about 2, maybe 3 minutes long,
Like 2 minutes.
and
Yeah.
I can't help but to just compare it to Callisto Protocol because we've seen a lot of that game. We've seen actual gameplay. We got a trailer. It's coming out in December. which is about like 1.5 months from when the Dead Space remake trailer is coming out. I am all in on Callisto Protocol. It looks amazing. It looks like everything I want out of a Dead Space remake. Now, only a month and a half later is when we're going to get this Dead Space remake. And based on the trailer, first of all, I don't think it looks that good. Like, visually, it's not what I was expecting
You watching it
out
in
of.
4K?
Yeah, I watched it on 4K.
You didn't think it looked good? Oh man, okay.
Well, I thought it looked good, but I didn't think it didn't look amazing. Like when I saw Callisto Protocol, that looked amazing. When I saw Dead Space remake, I thought it kind of I was my immediate thought. I was like, okay, this looks like Dead Space on PC. Like it looks like if I were to boot up Dead
No,
Space,
Alfredo, no. That was okay, that's disrespectful. No, I don't.
hey,
Come on. The
hey,
textures
that's
look
what it
pretty
looked like
nice.
to me,
Come
okay?
on. Hold on. I'll say it like this. I think the Dead Space
With mods.
remake.
With mods.
Okay. The Dead Space remake showed a lot more gameplay than the Callisto Protocol has shown so far.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's my one hang up with Callisto
Did,
Protocol. I
did
have
it
not
though?
seen much gameplay. I have seen
They shown gameplay and they showed a lot.
they've shown gameplay, but they haven't shown like I don't know how this game is going to function as a game. Like I know the big moments are going to be crazy, but I don't know from a moment to moment gameplay what this is going to be yet.
Right.
We're still kind of in the dark about that. We've seen gameplay
They showed the
moments.
set pieces, yeah.
Yes,
More the
exactly.
set
We've
pieces,
seen
yeah.
set piece moments. We have not seen what a moment to moment gameplay of this
Well,
looks like.
they have shown, I mean, it's a demo, right? So they have shown kind of what it looks like. They showed, I don't know the main protagonist's name. They showed him like walking through the corridors, like watching some projectors going down the corridor, and then like the big set pieces
But
happen.
we know, but Everett, we're gamers. We know the moment to moment gameplay is not going to look like that.
I
We
feel like it's gonna
know that.
be. I feel like what they shown leads me to believe is gonna be exactly like Dead Space,
Like
which,
it
but
looks
more intense.
exactly how what we've seen. I mean, it's gonna be a 10 out of 10, like
Yeah.
but I do believe that is they've shown us the best version of what this game looks like. No HUD, none,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like once we get the game, it's gonna be different. And I'm not saying it's gonna be bad. It's one of my most anticipated games of the year, pre-ordered and everything. But the problem with the Dead Space remake is we know what that's gonna look like.
Yeah.
So it's like we automatically just like kind of put it in its own box. While with Callisto Protocol, it's kind of like the unknown.
It's
We
new.
we don't know, and that's
Right.
exciting
Yeah.
because what we've seen looks in fucking incredible.
And that's what concerns me though, because what they showed us for Dead Space remake trailer, what they showed us, it's exactly like you said, Thomas. It looks like a one for kind of like a one for one, where there's no new surprises. And not only that, but I feel like all the surprises that they might have might unfortunately get they might get beaten to it because the
Mhm.
Callisto Protocol comes out a month late before, and it's going to beat them to those shocks, surprises that the remake might have. And then when we play the remake, if we choose to play something very similar to what just came out, aka Callisto Protocol, then we're just gonna be like, oh, this seems familiar and not in a good way, like that I just played it a month ago, or this is literally exactly like Dead Space 1, but
Yeah.
just like a one for one, like nothing new.
And for the
That's
most
what
part, I'm
I'm
playing.
concerned about.
Yeah, and for the most part, I'm playing devil's advocate. I mean, there's a reason why I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah, I based on the trailer, I won't either.
Yeah, like I'm
I
gonna
might have
be
if Callisto
I'm gonna be
Protocol didn't come
spaced
out.
out by the time it comes out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so I agree with you there. Like I hope honestly that it gets delayed. Actually, no, I
I
don't.
think it would do well if it did get delayed. I think it would do better for sure because then you give a little bit more space between, December.
For selfish reasons, I hope it doesn't get delayed because I want it to be free on EA Play by the summertime. If it gets delayed, then it'll take a longer time.
Fair,
So
fair.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Now you put something in our chat that I kind of want to talk about, but I didn't think that we both shared the same like. But yeah,
Let's talk about it for a
there's
second.
another EA project.
Yep.
So we're linking it a little bit, but Need for Speed Unbound looks pretty fucking good.
Oh, you liked it?
I
I
did.
I had mixed feelings. We got a trailer. First of all, we did you know this was coming?
Yeah,
I didn't.
I heard rumors about it a little bit ago, like maybe a
I
month or
had
two
no
ago.
idea. I had no
But I
idea.
thought I was only a Need for Speed enthusiast on. I mean, I'm not even an enthusiast because I've played a lot of Need for Speed, but I haven't played a new one in a while. I played
Yeah.
Heat because Heat's on EA Play, so I did play that. I was playing a little bit on Steam Deck actually. It actually runs pretty well on Steam Deck. Overall, I'm excited for it because it looks like it's going to lean more towards the anime style of things.
Yes, it does.
But at the same time, a Need for Speed game is facing an uphill battle in a post Forza world.
Hmm.
Not even in Forza Horizon to be specific, because when those games were coming out, there was no rival to it really. The only rival was like Burnout, and Burnout's a completely different experience.
Hmm.
I think Forza is going to be like people are really reminded of how good Forza is, and I don't think Need for Speed is going to really touch that.
Hmm.
I think they're also missing a whole bunch of Toyota cars because Toyota doesn't want to be associated with street racing anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
I might be wrong, but I know they're not able to advertise any Toyota. But I don't know if the Toyota is in the game actually.
Hmm.
So, released the day for my birthday.
Yeah, which is
Unfortunately,
shocking.
I mean,
December
unfortunately,
2nd?
it's not going to get any love at
Hey,
all from me.
I mean, well, you'll be playing Callisto same
Exactly.
day. Same exact day.
I don't think that release date was the best thing, but I think that I'm hoping it does well. 'Cause I think the world works better with Need for Speed. Back in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, yeah, as we said, I had no idea Need for Speed Unbound was gonna be a thing, let alone that it would be releasing this year, December 2nd, which was kinda crazy as well.
It kind of feels
I
like Sega, like when the Sega Saturn was like just released, like hey, it's in stores now.
right.
It's like
It's
what?
like, "Oh, we weren't ready." But it does look pretty good according to the trailer. Like you, Thomas, I enjoyed the anime-ness of it. Like, it seemed to be really leaning into graffiti as well, and I
Hmm.
think, like, those graffiti aspects, like, when you hit turbo, then you'll have those graffiti, like, I don't know, overlays, like, appear on your screen and, like, I don't know. It seems like a different type of Need for Speed, but it also seems to be bringing back, you trying to outrun cops, all of that. I think that will be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it because of Callisto, but I probably will snag it when it's on sale or something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
looking forward to it.
I have somebody at my door, Alfredo. Hold down the fort for 10 seconds.
Ooh, I can talk about the our next topic. Go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna hold down the fort while Thomas is missing. But what was also announced was the Steam Deck. So it was announced that the Steam Deck is now available to order without a reservation. So previously, you were able to obviously reserve the Steam Deck. It's been available since I believe like March or even earlier than that to order with the reservation. And then eventually, once it was your turn in the queue to come, then they would shoot you an email after you put your $5 down, and they would tell you, "Hey, my Steam Deck is available for to order, and you can confirm it, and it will be shipped in like a week or two." Now, you don't have to do that at all. Now, some of our people in chat are asking, why isn't the Steam Deck available in Australia? And yeah, I don't work at Steam, okay? I can't tell you that specifically. But for people like me in the US, I think it's also in Canada and some other regions, you don't have to wait any longer. You can go on steam.com and click, hey, I want a Steam Deck and get it in 1 to 2 weeks. The only catch is the most expensive one, like the one with the most storage space, is that you still do have to wait like a month or two is the expected availability. But the other ones you can get in within 1 to 2 weeks as normal. So this is having me, Thomas is back, but this is having me really consider do I buy the Steam Deck now or do I resist the temptation? I'm sure Thomas has a lot more to say about this because he loves the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. For me, this thing is perfect for how I want to play my games right now. I've always preferred my games portable. Since I was a kid, I've always preferred to have like a portable way to play games. Now, I will obviously having a console experience for those big triple A's, of course. But to play smaller games or games like I've already played or games on my backlog, I don't want to sit anywhere and like play those like in a big screen. Like I'd rather have that in a small form factor.
Yeah.
And the Steam Deck is perfect for that. So it requires a little bit of tinkering to get it how you want it, depending on what you want to do with it.
AKA
So
all those, sweet Nintendo games, Game Boy Advance, Sega games, anything you want.
allegedly, allegedly you can do
Allegedly,
it.
yeah.
But yeah, and even like there's some games like, for example, if you're in their Steam library, they might be unsupported. That doesn't mean they don't work. It just means that they are not like Valve feels like there might be some bug in it that makes it not like able to play. So you might have to like do some tinkering in the settings. You might have to download a couple drivers. So it's like it's still a PC at the end of the day. So if you are not a fan of that, because my friends were asking me about it, like, hey, should I get one? It looks so cool. Like you have all these games on. I'm like, well, it did take me like an entire day of tinkering with it to get it to work.
Oh, that's so long.
But I
But it's
will say
clearly worth it for a
here's the thing,
gamer.
like yesterday, like I had some plans, but beforehand I was like, I kind of want to put Breath of the Wild on here. And so it
You can do
required
that?
require
What?
it required an hour of my time to figure out, get the files, get them working. And then when I got it working, it's running at like 20 frames per second. So I'm like, oh shit, how do I get this working? Download a mod that gives you 60 FPS. Got that mod. Download another mod that changes the shaders. So now it's like a more like shinier shell shading on the
Mhm.
game. So now I'm playing Breath of the Wild at 60 frames per second, no loading. Um, and
Dang.
the shading's incredible.
See,
And
that's that PC mindset. You got access to the mods. You gotta, but there's also a learning curve, right?
And it's
You
also the
you don't get
mods
it
are
out of the
way
box.
easier to do on Steam Deck as opposed to doing them on PC because you
Okay.
have actual like Steam. There's this app called Emu Deck, and it essentially compiles all the mods and all of their files together into one app. And
Nice.
so you don't have to worry about all the different apps like you would on a PC.
Okay.
And when you switch to your big desktop mode, I'm sorry, your big screen mode, which is essentially like, big screen mode on Steam
Yeah.
Deck is right. Like
Mhm.
that's essentially the main mode of the Steam Deck. So you
I
can
never
make
use
it
it.
look like it's an actual gaming library as opposed to like, oh, I'm gonna open up this file and this file is Breath of the Wild. So I'll play it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to know what you're getting. But for me, like this is my most valued gaming console right now in the house.
So
Like
Thomas,
if it was a flood and I can only pick up one, I really would and let's say the PC is the non-starter. Let's say the
Mhm.
PC is automatically comes. That's not I use that more than just gaming. But let's say like I'm looking at my PS5, my Steam Deck, and I only pick one, like it's gonna be a hard look.
Oh no.
But I think I'm gonna have to pick up that Steam Deck.
Wow. Wow. Okay, second question. So obviously, you would tell anybody, "Okay, go order it now." Right? You would say that?
If you feel that it's going to fit your lifestyle and you're not like let's say you have to have a decent amount of Steam titles in your library one because if you let's say you've been a console gamer all your life, you never even touched Steam, yeah, you're gonna have to buy all these games again,
Mhm.
and that's an L. So it's very specific to the person. Like if let's say if you have like a friend who has a big Steam library and they allow you to share titles, okay, yeah, get Steam Deck. If you have to start from scratch,
Not worth
maybe
it.
hold off.
Okay.
Maybe hold off. Maybe get a PC first, and
Okay.
because that for me, I remember when the Steam Deck got announced. I think we was on a podcast when it got announced, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's cool." Like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah, we were all not about it, and now here you are, number
Yeah,
1 Steam fan.
but that was when I didn't have a PC, and I was like, when the thought of tinkering with my games sounded
Too much fun.
asinine. Never
Right.
thought I'd ever be a tinkerer with any. I never thought I'd touch a mod. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm playing PC games. I would argue probably majority now, and at least in the past 3 weeks since I've owned the Steam Deck. Like I feel like it's been like an 80-20 split between my console play and
One
my.
of us. One of us.
Unfortunately,
PC
look, the
Master
only
Race.
thing that's kept me away from the Steam Deck is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That's the only thing that's kept me away from the Steam Deck.
One day you'll figure out how to port that game to your Steam
I
Deck.
don't need because the one thing I don't want to go too long on this, but the one thing the Steam Deck has made me appreciate is the Nintendo Switch, specifically the OLED. But the Nintendo Switch in general, like certain things that the Steam Deck struggles doing, like the Switch does effortlessly. Like just switching from desktop mode is cool, of course, and you have more options on desktop mode. You can like pull up Netflix, pull up any website you want, but like
Nice.
the docked experience on Steam Deck is very much inferior to the Nintendo Switch dock experience, because it becomes a matter of it's a PC. So it's like you have to change the display settings, like it's like you know when you plug in like a PC to a new display, like you have to start fidgeting with it.
Right.
Nintendo Switch, it literally
Interesting.
is just plug it into the TV and just
Well,
put the Switch down.
you would think the Steam Deck would be the same, right? You just put it in. You don't have to mess with
No,
it?
it's not the same thing. Like,
I thought they would save your
hold
settings
on,
or
I can show you.
something.
I don't have the official dock, but I have a dock. Hold on a second.
Well, that's a good question. Okay, Thomas will be right back. But the next question is basically going to be that in addition to them Steam saying that the deck is now, or yeah, the Steam Deck is now available to order without reservations, they also released their official dock.
So in terms of the docks, like I have this dock, which is like this is like closest to the Steam dock.
Okay.
And so it has like HDMI on the back, it has USB on the back, it has charging, so you can charge and everything, but it still has to hook up to the TV. And it might not, like if you like just plug it in straight up, it might not like display right. So you have to go into the display resolution, change the resolution to whatever it's going to be. And then not all docks support HD. So it might show up like 720p on the TV.
Ah, interesting. Okay,
Because
that
this,
sucks.
yeah, and that's the big difference to me. Like the Switch, it literally is just like you plug it into the TV and just put it down and it works immediately.
But that all changes with the release of the Steam Dock, right? Because the
No,
Steam Dock,
no.
is it not?
It's the Steam Dock is basically just this that's going to get updates and is going to, it has an additional like display port.
Yeah,
But
I do say
it's not the same thing, because they're, for example, like the Switch docks are like, they feel like they're part of the console, right? This feels like an accessory. The docks feel that, and there's a reason why they don't come with the Steam Deck, because it's not part of the Steam Deck. Because you don't need, like, you can even use like this, I use this for the most part. This works the same. This is the same thing. It just doesn't have a
it's
place for.
essentially just a PC, literally a PC.
This is essentially just a dongle
component. Yeah, dongle.
Right. While the Switch, it is a legit, like if you don't have your dock for your Switch, it's almost like you're missing part of the Switch. So yeah, that's the main difference. Like just little things like that. Like there's no like, you don't have to mess with anything on Switch. Also, the Switch screen is like 10 times nicer than the Steam Deck screen.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's an OLED screen.
An OLED? Okay. But not the base.
Even like I would say the weakest aspect of the Steam Deck is probably the screen. Like that'd probably be the weakest element of it.
Dang.
Like Nintendo really did a good job with the screen of the Switch.
Well, at least you have the ability to hook it up to like an external monitor if you want. But
it's a pared down experience though, because it moves less swiftly. It unless you're in desktop mode, like if you're in big screen mode, it just doesn't feel as swift, especially if you start downloading like different ROMs and stuff. Like it starts slowing down easily. Like when I showed it off the one day, you remember how it was going kind of slow?
Yeah.
Like that, I was shocked, Alfredo, because that was the first time I had ever hooked it up docked. And I was like, yo, this is moving. I was like, I don't know why it's moving this slow. And as soon as I took it off of the dock stuff, it's moving fast again.
Huh.
So it's like, it's a PC. You know what I'm saying? It's a PC. It does weird things.
You got to figure it out.
Right. You got to figure it out. You got to put your big boy pants on. You got to figure it out. But don't get this thing expecting it to be a Nintendo Switch, because you will be disappointed and you might feel like you wasted your money.
I do wonder, though. I'm looking at some of the specs at the actual Steam, like the official dock. And I do wonder if, docking it in the official dock will help it work a little bit better. Well,
it's possible, because they're going to release firmware updates for the dock and everything. So it's possible.
More friendly.
That's why it's more expensive. It's like $90, right?
Exactly. So I wonder if that price point is, what's the word? Justifiable, basically.
It's
but
possible.
You won't be buying it. Is what you're saying.
It depends. I'd have to see reviews for it. I have to see if it's like, because this dock was $50, and this dock works pretty well. And truth be told, like I didn't buy this thing to put it on my TV. I have a
Right.
PC.
You bought it to be portable.
Right. Like I feel like if you are trying to utilize this as like a mini PC, then okay. That makes sense to have the dock and carry it around with you everywhere. Like I'm not carrying the dock with me at all because
Mhm.
I'm using this as a portable machine.
Right.
So it like I said, it depends on what you're using it for. But
Okay.
overall, like for me, like is it a must buy or not? For me, it's a must buy. It was like I would not, I don't regret this purchase at all. But I feel like if you're somebody who's only been a console player your whole life and you've always hated PC tinkering and you're expecting this to be more so like the Nintendo Switch and you don't have to tinker with it at all, you
Not
will
for
be
you.
there, even if you're not even trying to do emulation. Like you are going to be in the settings playing with frame rate for games, and you're gonna be like, oh, you
PC for
know,
the win.
like even Cyberpunk, like it works well, but put that thing at 60 frames per second on your Switch or on your Steam Deck, and it's gonna start slowing down. You're like, what's going on?
Mhm.
So you gotta play around with it. Plus, the battery life is not as good as Nintendo Switch either. So it's a bunch of little things, that I think the Nintendo Switch does very well, and that's why don't think they compete with each other either. I think they're completely
Interesting.
different.
Well, one is clearly, Nintendo, family friendly fun. Steam Deck for serious gamers. That seems to be the distinction, at least from where I'm looking.
Serious like PC gaming. I feel like
Right.
this is if you own a PC and you hate playing your games only on PC, and you want to like kind of because my friend like he's been hyped for this for a while. Because he's like, I want to get through my backlog, but I don't feel like sitting at a desk and playing through my backlog or
Mhm.
getting a long HDMI cable and like running it to my TV. It's like this is the answer.
Steam Deck.
So, and
Okay.
also before we go, I just want to mention PlayStation 5 is available on PlayStation Direct as of right now as well.
Not you endorsing PlayStation Direct again.
I'm just saying it is like
Well,
you get a
they're
disc
actually
version and a disc
available
version.
in a lot of stores. I've seen pictures of like fully stocked PS5. So if you're looking for one, check your local GameStop, Walmart, Target. I think they're more
We,
available, like Thomas
we've
was
been
saying.
waiting for this day and it's finally here and there's no fanfare.
Nope. Nope.
It's
People
like
are like, I gave up. Or
I
I
feel
have
like
one.
I honestly feel like for the most part, everybody who's wanted a PlayStation 5 in my neck of the woods has one now.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's within the past 3 months, that's been the case more often than not. So I feel like
Oh.
they've done a pretty decent job of trying to fulfill that demand. God, if it didn't take them a long time to do it, but
Now all they have to do is release the PS5 and or PS5 PSVR 2 is what I meant. Release that, more than 2 million units. Let's see how it does.
hopefully it
I
will be
believe.
smooth sailing like our podcast has been. I want to thank everybody for listening or watching the Dukes of Gaming podcast. You can email us at the Real Dukes of Gaming. Have your question read live on air. You can even listen to us on your favorite podcast service. Watch us live on Twitch. Watch us on YouTube as well. Leave a like, a review, a comment, anything to help support the show. Hit the bell as well to get notifications on when we release our latest videos on YouTube. We post everywhere, every week. So make sure you start your week right with the Dukes of Gaming. And with all that being said, thank you, my friend Alfredo. I bid you all farewell.